Off in the Atlantic Ocean, close to the Arctic Circle, is the country of Iceland, known for its $27 hamburgers, shark fermented in urine, and of course, Game of Thrones. So most exterior shots that take place north of the Wall and in the Vale were filmed in Iceland due to its cold weather, scenic nature, and varying topography. Now visiting all of the sites over 8 years of filming is pretty time intensive, but I was able to visit a few spots despite the very long drives.
Freakonomics Radio is supported by Kronos, FMLA, FLSA, ACA, EEOC. It's harder than ever for businesses to keep up with today's evolving alphabet soup of regulations. What's a company to do? Kronos.
Now, as a point of orientation, this is Iceland's capital, Reykjavik, and up here on this western peninsula is Grundarfjörður. Now in Season 7, this was the arrowhead-shaped mountain that the Hound sees in the flames, but for the Icelandic, it's their most famous and recognizable mountain. There isn't that much snow on it here, as I was in Iceland in May. Now, although you can't tell in the show at all, the mountain is kind of flat, much like a fin or perhaps an arrowhead. But what makes the mountain quite striking is that it rises quickly from the sea and doesn't have any other peaks around it. The show used CGI to move the mountain and added more peaks, which actually takes away from what makes this famous mountain so interesting. Now, a quick shot of the mountain can also be seen in Season 6 when Bran finds out about the origins of the White Walkers. This is actually just a summertime mirror image shot of the mountain. Now, if we head all the way to the north here, we have Lake Mývatn. East of the lake, we have the lava fields of Dimmuborgir. Iceland sits atop a tectonic rift, and thus it's filled with geothermal activity. These lava fields and their spooky shapes being a result of that. And although you can't really tell very well, the scene where Jon is at the Wildling camp in Season 3 is filmed here. If you look closely, you can see some wildlings in the background performing lookout duty atop some lava formations. The lava fields are actually filled with shrubs that are covered up with the wildling tents. Only a few miles down the road is the cave of Grotugja. Parts of Jon and Ygritte's famous cave scene in Season 3 were filmed here, though much of this is on a soundstage. And we're here at Ygritte's cave, and as you can see, there's no waterfall. The water here is actually a little too hot to swim in, and it's actually forbidden to swim, but I'm going to, put my feet in here a little bit, just to say I've been in the cave. Yeah, that's some hot water. The cave is a pretty sight, but there's certainly not much room for filming. Again, just a few miles up the road is Hverir, a geothermal area of steaming vents and boiling mud pools. The steam from this field was actually used to simulate storms in various scenes north of the Wall, namely this scene with the Night's Watch after they're attacked by the others at the Feast of the First Men. Now if we head back down south towards Reykjavik and the so-called Golden Circle, we have Thingvellir National Park. Near Thingvellir, one can throw rocks at the waterfall of Thorufoss, which was used in a Season 4 scene where Drogon roasts some goats. Within Thingvellir is Alamannia Canyon. This was used as the path that Arya and the Hound take to reach the Bloody Gate in the Vale in Season 4. It also serves as the canyon that Ygritte and Tormund meet the Thenns earlier in the same season. What's special about this canyon is that it's actually in the Silfra Rift, and was formed by the divergent tectonic drift of two plates. It's one of the few places on Earth you can walk between the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates. Weirdly, in the canyon, I found Melisandre taking glamour shots in front of a waterfall. Now just south of Thingvellir is the Hengil geothermal area. The mountains formed in this area was the filming location for the meeting and fight between Brienne and the Hound. And if you so desire, you can walk in the steps of Arya as she leaves the Hound for dead.
Kill me. Kill me! Kill me!
So Iceland is pretty famous for its turf houses, and one of the best examples of a turf house in Iceland is east of the Golden Circle at Tholdveldisbaran Stone? This is the village location of everyone's favorite character Ollie, and where he saw Tormund, Ygritte, and the Thenns slaughter his family and everyone he ever knew. And of course, some of the show's greatest lines were spoken here. Mother says it's time to eat. What's she got boiling? Let me guess. Wait. Potatoes. So you can note that there's a waterfall about 400 meters off in the distance, and that's the waterfall in which Ygritte shoots Ollie's dad from. The village is actually pretty small with only 2 buildings, and so the filming crew actually did a really good job in making it seem like it was a full village. Though in the opening shot, you can still see the highway. Very few tourists make it out to this turf village, so if you come, you'll likely have it to yourself, and you'll be free to reenact the scene. Now, Iceland actually has a special kind of horse. They're short, they're shaggy, and they're very, very tame. And it's actually illegal to import or export horses to Iceland. Of course, very tall actors like Rory McCann and Gwendolyn Christie would look rather silly on these tiny horses. And thus, if you note, for scenes filmed in Iceland, the pair's horses have mysteriously disappeared. For a tiny actress like Maisie Williams, though, an Icelandic horse works just fine. So what else is there to do in Iceland? Well, there's certainly plenty of lakes to throw rocks in. And you can check out a real longship and dress up like an Ironborn at the Viking Museum. And there's this rock that supposedly looks like a dragon drinking water. And I did find this house of black and white. But that's about it for my trip to Iceland. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.